In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this work session regular meeting of the Franklin Township Council was made as required, indicating that this meeting would take place at the Municipal Building at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, May 27, 2025.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing for the invocation by Councilman Jim Vasanella. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh,
He's not here.
Want me to do it?
yes, sure.
I'll be substituting for Councilmember Vasanella, who's not here. Let us take the next few moments of silence to each seek our own way. Whatever sources of inspiration will grant us the strength and the power in our thoughts and our decisions to be to the benefit of all people at all times.
Thank you.
Amen.
Madam Clerk, please take the roll so I can learn that Mr. Vasanella isn't here.
Councilman Barrison?
Here.
Councilwoman Francois?
Here.
Councilman Karazi?
Here.
Mayor Kramer?
Here.
Councilman Onijaka?
Here.
Councilmember Potasnik?
Present.
Deputy Mayor Rudine?
Here.
Councilman Vasanella? Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Okay. Next up, we have commendations and proclamations. Franklin Township Stigma-Free Commendations. Is that Mr. Vasanella was going to do that? I hope he's okay. Sheepa, what do you do?
Here he comes. It's only 1 minute after
Mr.
7.
Vasanella,
Man of the minute.
go directly to the podium.
No, he's got to pick up the...
Oh.
Oh, it worked.
So, yes, we're going to be acknowledging whichever ones are here, this wonderful effort. I think there's about a dozen or so. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, they're going to read the name of all the young people in Franklin we're honoring tonight. And this kind of explains it. We, Philip Kramer, Mayor, and James Vasanella, Councilman of Franklin, Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, on behalf of the Township Council, and all the citizens of Township of Franklin, hereby extend our appreciation and commendation to the youth we'll be naming in a few moments. In recognition of your commitment and service to our residents in raising mental health awareness, your efforts have not only helped reduce stigma surrounding mental health, but have also empowered your fellow community members with education, support, compassion, and more. And with this issue, which obviously is a concern for all ages, I personally think it's great the work they're doing at the Stigma-Free Council in general, but the fact that they're engaging young people to learn about something that can be addressed, should not be stigmatized, and we will never be able to abolish it, but we will be able to deal with it and make a lot of people's lives a lot better, hopefully. So they'll be able to talk much better than I can about what they did, but they really deserve to be acknowledged for this effort. This is something that has not really been dealt with a lot of nonprofits that involve youth over the years in town, the great work that they do. So I'm really glad to see that they're picking up the ball with this. And Would you like to give a little bit more insights to that?
My name is Safi Callan. I am the Special Projects Manager for the Township of Franklin, and right over here is my fellow co-chair, Phyllis Beals. We are the co-chairs of the Franklin Township Stigma-Free Council. The council's mission is to eradicate mental health stigma and substance use stigma within Franklin, and we do that through advocacy, through programming, through education, and the young people behind me are doing the same. We meet the third Wednesday at the Community Senior Center, and our next meeting is June 18th. So if you want to join us as a guest or just join us as a brand new member, we welcome you. We also are asking people to pledge to be stigma-free, meaning that you carry on our mission as well. So I have a computer set up where you can just sign in to be a stigma-free resident of Franklin Township. Or if you don't have a moment, just scan the QR code and then you can sign up on your own. We're going to recognize 12 young people today, and they are doing the same work where they're breaking down barriers through mental health advocacy. First are our 2 6th graders from Thomas Edison Energy Smart Charter School, Rafiq Tabanli and Siddharth Kudamula. Give a wave, look happy. All right. And she could not be here with us today, but Mental Health Advocacy Gold Award Project recipient on How to Be a Superhero, Emily Chavez. She is also one of the founding members of Smile with Braces, but she is now in her first year at American University. And I'm going to have one of the recipients, Angela Waika, read out the names of the recipients for Smile with Braces. She's joined by Connor Lyons.
So Smile with Braces is the St. Matthias Youth Living Evangelization. And Braces stands for Bringing and Raising Awareness to Combat Existing Stigmas. And we just recently had our St. Matthias Self-Care Fair on April 27th. And our mentors are Deacon John Radvansky and Sue Lanchevsky. And our members are me, Angela Waika, Connor Lyons, who's with me tonight, Annalisa Damsky, Emily Chavez, Isabella Famelin, Carl Furtado, Abigail Joseph, Isabel McGuire, James Nornalata, and Miles Williamson.
So we believe that the pursuit of health and the pursuit of happiness should not have any barriers, especially shame, judgment, anything along those lines. We want to make this community a safe place, a place of understanding, and a place of care. So thank you very much. You could just stand for a moment. We'll take a picture of you guys.
Do you want to come up?
Linda's going to take a couple photos. Scooch together, everybody. Thanks so much for this.
Yes, thank you for the work you're doing. And just for what it's worth, although the kids our young residents are doing a great job and involved in this issue, the council welcomes anybody to get involved. There's a wonderful group of people led by Safi and Phyllis, who co-chair the Stigma Free Council. So please consider getting involved if you have interest in that. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sure I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but the next item is Thanei American Commendation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
First of all, congratulations, the Stigma Free group. It was just amazing. Anytime I see the youth coming and doing something in our community, really gives me such a great pleasure, and the future of our community is brighter, for sure. And today, actually, I'd like to recognize another organization with several members of them that have been working on various programs to unite our community. And so I'd like to invite them. 4 of them are here, I believe, and come forward. And I'm going to be reading on commendation. Come. And speaking of the future generation, here she is. That's the 4th one. Commendation by the Mayor and Council of Township of Franklin. We, Philip Kramer, Mayor, and Alex Karazi, Councilman, in the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, on behalf of the Township Council and all residents of Township of Franklin, do hereby extend to members of TNI America appreciation and commendation for organizing an active participation in the First World Culture Day Dialogue and Development held in Franklin Township Library on May 10, 2025, to celebrate cultural diversity in Franklin Township and foster respect for differences and promote mutual understanding among Franklin Township diverse community. Now, what was, for those of you who participated, including we had the President of Interfaith Council who came and a few other people, what was amazing was the speeches by young people, the high school, elementary school, and I believe there are a couple of them that they're going to be speaking about the importance of diversity, and they talked about their life experience. One of them was sharing that she was very shy by bringing Indian food to school. But now she's not anymore because she feels that she's part of the community and people respect. And she said that if somebody teases them, they will try to educate them. So it's a wonderful community we have. As I have mentioned before, we are the 2nd most diverse community. And it's just an amazing community we have. And congratulations. Thank you so much.
Okay, which item number 6 on the agenda? There are copies of the agenda over there by the clerk. Item number 6 is public discussion. Do we have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. We are open to the public. Anyone wishing to speak about matters related to government, we all have 5 minutes. May only come up once. No yielding of time. Please state your name and address.
Javon Walker, 15 Coon Street. Can everyone hear me? Perfect. I'd like to say, just as a supplement to the proclamations today, I was doing some thinking, and I feel as though Franklin Township deserves like a cultural language class supplemental to what's offered at the Board of Education. Like, I don't know whether we could do it sometime during the week, or maybe sometime on Saturdays or Sundays where we can accommodate volunteers within the community to open up classes for language and or culture. We have such a diverse community, from people of all backgrounds, Latin Americans, Africans, Asians, Europeans, people of all backgrounds that speak different languages. They come to this community for different reasons, whether it's from genocide, from famine, from political revolutions. I think that we could open up a like classes or some kind of informational sessions from people by this community to the youth or anyone interested in them. I think that it helps foster greater diversity and unity within the community. Like, for instance, the Hungarian population that moved out to Franklin Township from the 50s and 60s, probably escaping persecution by the Soviets, people from the Iranian Revolution, people from the famine and genocide of Bangladesh, from what's going on in Israel or Palestine. the numerous types of coups in Africa. Like, there are so many reasons why people are here in this community that we can all learn and foster some type of togetherness and education from one another. So I would like to help set that up if possible. I don't know if it comes from funding, if it's from Franklin Township volunteers, from the residents. I just think that as a community, we won't see the immediate effect of it, but years down the road when students are able to not have so many differences because they understand why people are in this community, from the communities that they come from their parents, why they're here, when they got here, the political avenues. I just think it's an asset to this community, and Franklin can continue to foster being a leader, and specifically on the diversity part, that's something you can't even equate. You can't calculate, you can't put a number on it. It's just something where someone would know, oh wow, they come from Franklin. There's 25% South Asians, there's 20% African Americans, 20% Caucasian Americans, and so forth. That's just a big part. And I had a couple other questions related to like rent control. I was curious to know, what exactly is the regulation for rent control? Is it 3.5% of what the, okay, appreciate that, Mr. Borlacher. I'm curious to know exactly what the rules are for a landlord to be able to raise rent. If it comes from the property tax increase, if it comes from, is it a certain percentage that's tagged to the current rent that they're able to raise it? So I'd just like to know that. That's it. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Anyone else wishing to speak?
Michael Bryan, 40 Bryan Court. First of all, I would like the council to know why I am here. I am here only to talk about traffic on Schoolhouse Road, truck traffic, and warehouses. I am not here for any political reason. In my previous residence for the past 50 years, I was a very active member of the Democratic Club, helping many candidates get elected. I also, last time I was here, I questioned that the police traffic department did not return my phone calls. And nobody on the dais said, maybe we should look into that. Nobody said that. It was completely ignored. As far as police are concerned, and you've heard this line before, I have respect for police. I have friends that are police officers. Well, let me tell you about my relationship with the police. I have worked with over 200 police agencies in this country. And yes, I said 200. I worked with big city police departments. I worked with county police departments, sheriff's police departments, RCMP, Port Authority, tribal police, and 47 state police agencies, working up to and including state police colonels. I've attended many IACP conventions. I don't know if anybody knows what the IACP convention is. It's the International Association of Chiefs of Police, the largest police chief convention in the world. And I think I could safely say your police chief probably attends. Many sworn officers waited online to talk to me, to help them raise money for their charities and events. In Plainfield, New Jersey, I attended a Wednesday night boys night out club with many police officers for 15 years. Among them was one of my dearest friends who I really miss, Anthony Parenti, who was president of New Jersey State Police Chief Association and director of the Police Chief Academy. Clearly, I have no malice toward police, officers at all. At the last meeting, now for my questions. At the last meeting, I was accused of calling the mayor to discuss my issues. That is absolutely not true. That remark was brought up because I could not respond, and the mayor was not here to say it wasn't true. I want to know why that was brought up. Question number 2. What are the boundaries of the restricted area for trucks on Schoolhouse Road? Is the proposed new warehouse, question number 3, is the proposed new warehouse in that zone, and will trucks be permitted to enter that warehouse through the zone and be classified as local deliveries? Question number 4. The signs on Schoolhouse Road saying they're limited to 4 tons are this big. I don't think the truck drivers even see them. Will the signs be made larger? Question number 5. The Canal Walk Homeowners Association has appointed a committee to monitor truck traffic on Schoolhouse Road. I did not know anything about this committee until I received a Google email stating that the HOA was asking for volunteers. In no way did this idea come from me. Will the council work with the the HOA volunteers to help alleviate the traffic on Schoolhouse Road? Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
Shirley Tallman. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, Tallman on Tallman, 57 Tallman Lane. And I thoroughly agree with what this young man just said, because I see the same thing. And I never got a call, manager. You promised me a call from someone. Mayor, you were here too. So my
There was no need.
councilwoman-
The engineer's working on your project.
No, you said they were going to call me.
Well, he was out of the office, so he
Mr.
didn't.
Vornlocker,
Well,
it's her
that
time.
sounds like a bunch of smoke to me.
He's working on the project. You asked for it, he's doing it.
Yeah, but what's he doing?
Miss-
You know what?
Mr.
This is not a
Vornlocker,
joke. I have better things to do tonight, manager. I could be out having a dinner with a handsome guy with a lot of money, but I'm here tonight. I'm here tonight because I want to get a commitment out of this guy, councilwoman, who represents my district. I want a little help with this, okay? And mayor, I want a little help with this. Because I am dead serious here. You think it's a joke? It's not a joke. The signs don't work. The cameras don't work. We need a structure. We need a structure. And you can laugh all you want, but structures work. They stop tractor trailers from coming through where they don't belong. And word gets out, and when they break down on 287 and they want to take a detour, they don't take our detour. Okay? So I expect to hear something. I'm not going to sit here waiting. No. How long have we been dealing with this? Too long. Aren't you sick of it? You were promising those cameras that they were up 2 years ago, or maybe a year ago. Time flies. They were never up. They were never up. You led us to believe they were up. Okay, enough said about that. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, I have a question for our attorney. Hi.
Good evening.
I'm Shirley Tallman. I don't think I've met you.
I'm Carol Berlin.
Okay, Carol, in all fairness, maybe you're not up to speed as much as the man who used to sit there. At least 2 weeks ago, he was there. And what I would like to know about the lawsuit, Mayor Kramer, the one on the property at the corner where I live that we've been dealing with for so long. I want to know if money, real money, has changed hands on that property. Do we know if Anatole and the corporation that he sold it to, was there money exchanged? Can anybody tell me that? Do we know that from the lawsuit, or do we have any idea?
We answer questions after.
Okay, I know you will. Thank you. Then the last thing, is it against the principles of the council if anybody asks you for change, spare change, after the meeting? Would that be against the principles? I need your spare change. And the reason I need it is I'm filling up these baby bottles. Does anybody know about the baby bottle drive? Okay, there's an organization that I used to rock babies for them. And they're right across from Parker in Somerset. And unfortunately, the name escapes me right now, but I filled
Great
a couple.
expectations.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish you knew more about what I asked you earlier.
I know a lot, and I'm going to tell you when you're done.
Yeah, right. Well, I want it out here in the open, okay? Because I want it on record, because I'm getting tired of it. Okay, so the reason I'm asking that is if you have some fair change and you think that it's worthwhile putting it in a baby bottle, not so much for the mothers, because they need to grow up. Those mothers need to grow up, right? But those innocent children, those babies, then I'll leave the baby bottle up here after the meeting. Thank you. Thank you.
First of all, I would like to bring you greetings. My name is Pastor Johnny Myers Sr. I'm a resident of Somerset County for the past 30-something years. I'm at 26 Hunt Road, Somerset, New Jersey, and I love the city of Somerset. But I'm also here because I'm the pastor of Full Gospel Temple of Praise Church, which is located right in the Hamilton Street Special District. We're at 135 Victor Street in the city of Somerset, New Jersey. And what I want to know is, how does this assessment affect us as a church and as a church community?
You're talking about that.
I also want to know, is there any, excuse me?
I'm sorry, are you talking about Hamilton? Stop the clock. Are you talking about Hamilton Street Special Improvement?
Yes.
You can speak about it now, but there's going to be a section, special section in the meeting about that. But you can speak about it now if you'd like.
Okay. Okay, good. I just want to know what I can do to help out. I want to know, I guess once we have the meeting, how does that assessment affect church property?
Start the clock.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Listen, then I'll wait for the meeting, okay? All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much for giving me the time. God bless.
All right. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No problem.
So anyone under 18 does not have to give their last name or their address. All you have to do is give your first name.
Hello, my name is Audubon. I'm 9 and I'm in Claremont Elementary School in 4th grade. And I'm happy to live in a community that's the second most diversified community in New Jersey. And I'm going to talk about promoting cultural diversity. Cultural Diversity Days on May 21st, which passed, and Promoting diversity in the society means recognizing and valuing differences in race, culture, gender, religion, and background. To promote diversity, we must start with education. Teaching students about different cultures and encouraging respect at a young age. A diverse society is more inclusive, creative, and resilient. Even in our school, we have International Food Festival, which is today, May 27th. It portrays the diversity in the society. The media also plays a key role by showing diverse people and stories in a positive and authentic way. Workplaces, companies should hire people from different backgrounds and create environments where everyone feels included and heard. Traveling to different places can also teach us about more cultures and many types of foods and dresses, and etc. I believe traveling gives us a lot of real experiences about the cultural diversity among different people around the world. Communities can also host cultural events and discussions that bring people together and build discussions.
Speak to the mic. Close to the mic.
And discussions that bring people together and build understanding. Did you know that in Franklin over 65 languages are spoken? In conclusion, promoting diversity means making space for everyone and learning to appreciate what makes us different. It creates a stronger, more united society for all. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Good evening. My name is Alenkathir, and I'm a junior at Franklin High School. And so I would like to speak regarding the occurrence of the World Day for Cultural Diversity, which was last Wednesday, May 21st, 2025. And we live in a society made up of people from different backgrounds, traditions, and beliefs. And that's a beautiful thing. But cultural diversity is more than just celebrating food, festivals, or clothing. It's about understanding, respect, and inclusion. So how can we promote it? First, education. So let's teach our children and ourselves about different cultures, not just in history books, but through real stories, music, literature, and conversations. And I know we have the Race, Gender, and Equity course at the high school, and we also have the AP African American Studies course at the high school, and I feel like that's great. And I would also like to see more additions to the curriculum that try to expand on our diversity and our culture in Franklin Township. So when we understand each other, fear and prejudice fade. Second, representation. So whether it's in media, politics, schools, or workplaces, people from all cultures deserve a seat at the table. Seeing diversity in leadership encourages young people to believe that their identity is valued. So living in Franklin Township as the second most diverse township or community in the state, I definitely feel like my culture is valued over here, and I'm very honored to live in Franklin Township. Third, communication and open-mindedness. So instead of judging what's unfamiliar, let's ask questions, listen, and learn. Let's speak up when we see discrimination and support inclusive policies in our communities. And finally, we must remember that diversity is not a challenge to overcome, but it's a strength to celebrate. So when we embrace our differences, we build a society that's not only more just, but also more innovative, compassionate, and united. And I would like to thank Mayor Kramer and Dr. Karazi, Councilman at Large, and other elected council members for giving me this opportunity, and thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
Good evening. My name is Skip Richards. I'm a resident of Canal Walk. I live at 14 Bryant Court. My issue tonight is with the town and what it's done in the past. I moved to Canal Walk in 2018. I did research on my property before I moved here. The property adjacent to it, which is now the B9 application, was zoned ROL. Checked the county website, that's what it said. Up until after the approval, after the time of application of the county, of the B9 application. the county website said ROL. It was never changed. The township failed in its duty to to township residents to keep the county website posted so we could actually know what the zoning of that property was. During COVID, the planning board or whoever, or the ordinance were passed that changed it or codified it into the BI zone. Now, us as Canal Walk residents are stuck with the B9 application, which has been basically approved with minor modifications that are going to take place. My question to the board is, there are exceptions, and well, let me jump over to what Mike said before about the 4-ton limit. Schoolhouse Road is a 4-ton road from Randolph Road to Weston Canal Road. We all know there's exceptions to those rules, and one of them is warehouses. If there's deliveries being made to a warehouse, it's an exception. However, Franklin can make exceptions to that rule, which they did on Weston Canal Road and on Weston Road. There are no trucks, absolutely not allowed. Why was it not done at the B9 on Schoolhouse Road right next to Canal Walk? Why were we not exempt? You did it on Weston Road and you did it on Weston Canal Road, but you didn't do it on Schoolhouse and Metlers. It's a travesty. We're sitting there as senior citizens, we got to deal with a warehouse now. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name's Jan Brandt. I live at 22 Bryant Court. I wasn't going to mention anything what Mr. Richard just said about the ROL. Actually, the same thing happened to us, and the website wasn't, whatever website we looked at was not updated. And in fact, on your website, on the Franklin Township website, it has Block 514, Lot 60 as being all BI, and actually it's not all BI, it's actually residential as well. So that's on the site that you guys have. But anyway, that's not what I was going to talk about. Franklin Township has done that traffic study and for the master plan. And through this study, it's been discovered that the township will have ratings of F at all the different intersections once the warehouses are built, the proposed warehouses are built. And I came here about a month ago, just asking about emergency response and, how long for an ambulance to get to Ward 2. And I'm specifically honing in on Ward 2 because that's where practically most of the warehouses are built. And if all the intersections are going to be rated F once all the warehouses are there, won't that affect the emergency response? And, to apartments, residences, things like that. And I know when I came here about a month ago, I spoke about a specific response and all. And actually, it took about, let me just look here just to confirm. It took 18 minutes for an ambulance to get to an emergency response at Canal Walk. I don't want to mention the specific thing. There were police who arrived ahead of that response, but we know if somebody is really having, in a bad situation, for example, cardiac arrest, police can do so much, but you really need emergency response people. And once an ambulance arrives 18 minutes later, kaput, really that person, if they're in cardiac arrest, they really don't have much chance of survival when that happens. So I just wanted, so my question is, how long for an ambulance right now, presently, to arrive to a resident's apartment in Ward 2? And I'm not talking about police, but an ambulance. And has the council thought about this traffic report and all the intersections rating F, that it's going to naturally be affected? You don't need to do any studies about that unless you have some, different emergency response. My second topic is about the 4-ton limit and the deliveries and all, and how there's local deliveries allowed. So it's kind of ironic because, there were ordinances made so that there would be no, trucks allowed on Schoolhouse Road. However, local deliveries are allowed, and local deliveries, like, there's all these warehouses on Schoolhouse Road. Why make an ordinance that you're not allowed to have trucks or deliveries on Schoolhouse Road if local deliveries are allowed? And let me tell you how that's, like the DRCC, when there was a report, when they did a report on Canal Walk, they said, we're not going to worry about the traffic on Schoolhouse Road or to B9 because there's ordinances in place for no trucks. So we don't have to worry about the traffic there. The traffic's not going to be impacted because Franklin Township put in all those ordinances. So hey, let's not worry about it. I would recommend to the council to think about sending the traffic report to the DRCC, because right now, according to their report from, a year or so back, they didn't approve B9 because there's other processes in place, even though B9 said they were approved by the DRCC, but they weren't. But when the DRCC assessed them, they weren't concerned because no deliveries and no trucks are allowed on Schoolhouse Road. They saw those ordinances in place. So I think that's it. Thanks so much.
Anyone else?
Anyone else at all? No? Okay. I will motion to close the public portion, Mayor.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion is carried. Now it's time for us to respond. At the last meeting, I announced why I have to recuse myself about anything to do with B9. At the last meeting, I announced that I have to recuse myself with anything to do with B9. Simply stated is, I do entirely separate medical legal expert witness for what happens to be the same firm as represents B9. I didn't realize that until about a month ago, and once I did, I immediately recused myself. So I can't answer any of the B9 questions. I will answer one thing about the light, the cameras. Mr. Vornlacher reported repeatedly that the cameras were delayed because we're waiting for PSE&G to put them up, to allow us to put them up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you think that we have any control whatsoever over PSE&G, you're sadly mistaken. They are an entity above the state. Let's see, what other ones can I answer? Ms. Brandt, I reviewed the body camera for the incident that you talked about. The police response, Mr. Vornlacher can give you the numbers, was almost immediate. It was appropriate. I shouldn't say almost immediate. It was quick. It was appropriate. Gave excellent care, and there's not much you can do besides CPR, oxygen, and a defibrillator, which she had her own defibrillator. Someone made a comment that she's just said, when someone said there's a defibrillator. That's because she had her own, which she was familiar with, and she was ready to use that. I'm not an emergency tech. I don't work in an emergency room. I am a doctor, though. I thought she did an exemplary job. So, and the main factor in whether someone responds to emergency action for a heart attack is how quickly CPR has begun. So that part was done well. As to the specifics you were asking about, perhaps Mr. Vornlacher can answer. And maybe Mr. Karazi, does anyone have any other comments? But do you have comments about the international language issues that we're
I
going through.
have actually, thank you, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. I have a comment on that. First of all, thank you so much for the suggestion. We are very fortunate in Franklin Township because our schools already have various programs, and probably you don't know, but there is a culturally responsive school leadership program. And they engage in all kinds of activities. Sometimes they ask people to dress up like another culture and so forth. So there's a lot of things going on, but I would suggest that if you have an idea, the gentleman that you can talk to is Mr. Plummer. Mr. Plummer, I don't know if you know him, but he is the leader for the diversity program. And you'll be amazed at the stuff that they have. And I'm 100% sure that the social study teachers, they have all kinds of programs recognizing the diversity in our township. But if you have ideas, please feel free just to go ahead and talk to them. Thank you.
Any other council members?
I'd also like to add to that. So I think we also, for the adults, we have the Human Relations Commission, and that could be something that you could talk to them about. Perhaps they can do something in the community as well, outside of the school district.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Councilwoman. Actually, I'm the liaison for that, and we had invited Mr. Plummer to our HRC, and he's explained quite a bit. So, yeah, please, the next meeting is on June 25th. So please come to that meeting if you could. Thank you.
Any other council members?
I just want to comment on that emergency service, and I have also reviewed, and I think I agree to everything that you said. They have done, the police force that was in Canal Walk, they have done everything that they need to. On top of that, we have been also offering CPR lessons to citizens, residents, and our police force that do come off. They are registered and they have the equipment to handle for the first one. So I definitely want to say I agree to everything that the mayor mentioned around the EMS. And the exact time, I think, Mr. Volnacker, you can probably mention. I do have a question on the signage. I know I heard two people mention about signage, and we have signages out there. We have a lot of signages that we put up, and we continue to review signages. And almost kind of thinking, is there something else we can do for truck drivers? But I know the truck drivers have specific routes that they use that's different, like a GPS system that's meant for trucks. So if there is, a certain street that we have indicated that they're not allowed, it's automatically, I think, presented on their maps. But something that I would like to brainstorm a little bit more on to see what we can do for trucks if there's a specific signage that I'm hearing today, and I've heard in the past as well. So I'll definitely take that into consideration as well. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Mayor, I think he left, so I just want to make sure. Some people might have seen the pastor that was here. Yeah, and I just, for those who can't see, our executive director for Hamilton Street is in the audience, and I'm sure gave him the information on how the assessment, which generally speaking, and he'll correct when we do the presentation for Hamilton Street, a nonprofit, a registered nonprofit that doesn't pay tax exempt would probably be exempt from the assessment. And I'm sure our executive director told the pastor the many ways he can get involved, because we would love for more organizations and civic groups to get involved. So anybody who had heard, he's already been informed, but I just want to make sure everybody knew the follow-up on that, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Potasnik.
Dzień dobry, Jovan. I learned that from Mango Languages, which are available free at the Franklin Township Library when I went to go visit my family in Poland. And interestingly, I just came back from visiting my Polish family in Canada, all from an online, totally free, available with your library card as a resident of Franklin, to learn languages. And I think it's a great idea. I'm not sure we have to or should not stand up individual language classes, but it is a diverse community. We have a lot of diverse backgrounds. I can't say I can have a full conversation, but I can usually get through a store. Do widzenia.
He forgot to mention that if you have a library card, it's called Hoopla, and it allows you to download a book for so many days or something like that. So if you wanted to learn a language, there's the way to do it.
Well, we have quite an active council answers to public questions. Now, take a breath. Mr. Vornlocker.
So let's talk about weight limits on roads, whether it be Schoolhouse Road, Weston Canal Road, the municipal portion of Weston Canal Road, or any other road that has a weight limit. And I believe, looking at the list here, there's probably about 40 or 50, maybe more, in the township that have designated weight limits. Weight limits are adopted by municipal ordinance, and it is governed by Title 39 of the New Jersey revised statutes. And it requires that when a municipality places a weight restriction on a public roadway, that local deliveries and pickups are exempt. The gentleman who mentioned that somehow that he thought that Weston Canal Road and Weston Road was a strict restriction on trucks, that's simply not true. When Municipal Ordinance 226-17 is amended from time to time to add streets to it, that's the ordinance that regulates weight limits on roadways. It's just another street added to that municipal ordinance. So you can show me whatever you want. I'm looking at the municipal code, and I adopted enough weight restrictions in my career to tell you that every single road, when it is weight restricted, has an exemption for those trucks that are making pickups and deliveries along that roadway. Every single one. So there's no exemption that doesn't allow for pickups and deliveries. Fact. Okay? So, and in fact, 226 reads, vehicles over the registered gross weights set forth are excluded from streets or parts of streets described except for the pickup and delivery of materials on such streets. It's the ordinance in its entirety, plus the names of the streets. So that's weight limits. Schoolhouse, as someone else mentioned, has a weight restriction that is between Randolph Road and Weston Canal Road. That weight restriction, by the way, goes back long before anyone ever had an idea or an inkling that there would be a thing called Canal Walk. And probably long before there was ever a warehouse on Schoolhouse Road. It goes back to the olden days when Schoolhouse Road was about 18 feet wide and looked like a snake on a bad day, okay? So that's where that weight restriction comes from. After the improvements were made to Schoolhouse Road, most of which were made by Canal Walk and Premier Development, the weight restriction remained. That's where that comes from. So that's the reason for the weight restriction. Should a truck come up Schoolhouse Road from Weston Canal Road and make a delivery on Schoolhouse or one of the streets off of Schoolhouse, such as Heller Park Lane, it would be absolutely permitted to do so. As far as signage was increased and improved along Weston Canal Road, both at Schoolhouse, well, I should say both, at Schoolhouse, Randolph, and Cottontail Lane, directing trucks to use those roads that are not weight restricted, Randolph and Cottontail, big white signs there at each intersection that tell trucks to use different routes other than Schoolhouse. And there was also signage improved along New Brunswick Road and Elizabeth Avenue at that intersection as well. And we've had discussions with Somerset County regarding Amwell Road. There's an issue with signage related to the bridge that goes over the canal on Amwell Road, and the advanced signage that goes all as far back as Elizabeth Avenue. I've put in a request for Somerset County to consider changing the signage that exists at both Matler's and Elizabeth on Amwell Road due to the weight restriction of the bridge on Amwell Road, so that the last avenue of escape for trucks off of Amwell Road is not Matler's, but is Elizabeth Avenue, so that trucks will be directed to Elizabeth that are heading westbound on Amwell Road, so that they're not using Matler's Road to access points to the north or west. So that's a little bit of information on weight restrictions. I think the mayor addressed the camera issue more than I need to, so I will not. As far as obstructions, Ms. Tolman, obstructions where they're not a natural occurring thing are certainly not something that I would encourage, nor would I really think was the appropriate answer to an issue. Those obstructions, as you call them, would also severely hamper emergency vehicle responses. You have fire engines, both ladder trucks and engines that exceed the height limits and the wheelbase, and so I don't think that that's the right answer. I have asked Darren Massey from CME, who acts as the township engineer, to evaluate your request and your suggestion of a roundabout at Metlers and Weston Road. I spoke with him probably about a week and a half ago. He was off and out of the office for most of last week, and what he told me was he was nearing completion on the evaluation, and he wanted to do a field visit, and then once he was done with that, he would be in contact with me and you to discuss what his findings were. So he didn't need to talk to you beforehand, he needed to do the work. So that's what he's doing. So my turn to talk. So that's the answer for roundabouts. As far, sir, as what you saw on a county website, and I don't know what you saw on a county website as far as the zoning in Franklin Township, but I will tell you is that the B9 site was zoned as M2 light manufacturing as far back as 1998. And that was prior to the approvals of Canal Walk. And it was M2 all the way up until the consolidation of the M1, M2, and CB zones into the newly created BI zone. The creation of the BI zone didn't allow for any different type of development on the B9 site. It just simply incorporated the warehouse and light industrial uses that were not a permitted use in the CB zone, which is the Davidson Avenue World's Fair Drive area, and it then allowed for those types of development in that area of the town. And any permitted uses in the former CB zone would now be permitted in the former M1 and M2 zones, and those included office buildings, most of which were already a permitted use in the M1 and M2 zones. So it was not ROL. Now, the property at the corner of Weston Road and Metlers Road on the east side of Metlers was in fact ROL, and it was ROL until it was rezoned RR3. But the ROL, and for what it's worth, prior to the approval of Canal Walk as senior citizen village, that also was ROL, which was a commercial zone. So that kind of sums up my zoning lesson. And I'm trying to think if there was anything else.
There was one on Mr. Walker asked about rent control.
So rent control was addressed by the rent control staff member, Mr. Dominack.
Okay.
And rent control is under, I believe, 267 in the code is all of the information on that. And I think he answered. Did he get you what you needed? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, excellent. So that was rent
Questions
control.
1 and 5 were not answered.
Did you write them down? I was trying to write as fast as I could.
So the one about calling the mayor,
Yes.
I handle a million phone calls. You're a gentleman. If you said you didn't, I believe you didn't. But I wouldn't remember if you called me or not.
What was I accused?
I don't know what, I honestly have no recollection of what you're talking about.
We looked at the tape of the last meeting. 2 meetings ago.
The meeting I missed.
Quote, somebody called the mayor and it was probably about you.
No, someone called the mayor about a complaint, I guess, that you raised as well. That very well could be. The mayor passes on complaints almost on a daily basis to me. That's my job.
I watched the video. That doesn't stand out to me, but I'll rewatch. I'm again, you're a gentleman, I believe you. But I can't testify to whether you called me or not, but I believe you. I don't know what 5 was.
It was around HOA, volunteering.
Oh, so that's not me to answer. You're asking if the township will work with the HOA. To be honest with you, I know absolutely nothing about what you're talking about, so I wouldn't give an opinion from my part on working with or not working with an organization when I know nothing about what you're talking about. And what I will say, though, is that I didn't have an opportunity to address it at the last time that you were here when you talked about the police department being non-responsive, and that the woman who you spoke to in the traffic bureau, you were aghast by the fact that she didn't know anything about the cameras. The woman you spoke to is a clerk. There are no female officers in the traffic safety bureau. I would not expect a clerk in the traffic bureau to know anything about lights, cameras being put up in a specific area of town. She would have no reason to know anything about that. So you were very critical of that, and that is something that I can't say that any clerical staff working in the town would have any knowledge that we're putting up cameras on Schoolhouse Road and Weston Canal Road. But you said that you had that conversation with her. So anyway.
I made the mistake of letting a little back and
there
forth
you go.
happen. I regret it.
I think that covered them all.
Mr. Vaughn, 2 things. The Canal Walk EMS that Ms. Brandt brought up, the EMS emergency service resolve time. If you can talk about that.
I didn't hear you, Councilwoman.
The
response time
to
I couldn't, so having been involved in emergency services for a very, very long time, I think that question can't be answered. How long will it take an ambulance to get to someplace in Canal Walk? There are so many different variables involved in answering that question that we could talk about it literally for hours. Variables such as the number of available ambulances at any given time in Franklin based on the time of day, the day of week. There's generally 2 ambulances providing ambulance coverage by Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas around the clock, but then you also bring into play East Millstone that has coverage times during certain times of the day and certain times of the week. So and how many are on calls? Are there other calls that are demanding an ambulance? Do they have to go to mutual aid to another municipal first aid squad, whether it be Monmouth Junction in South Brunswick, or now Bound Brook Police Department is providing EMS coverage to Bound Brook, and they provide mutual aid coverage. It certainly depends on the time of day. There's no doubt. When you talk about levels of service at an intersection, just keep in mind that that's not 24 hours a day, 7 days a week levels of service that study showed. Those are peak hour levels of service during the weekday periods. All right, that's not all day, every day. That's 7:30 to 8:30 in the morning and 4:30 to 5:30 in the evening. Those levels of service are anticipated to rise to a level of service F. F is also, there's a range for each letter that's assigned to a level of service. It's not just like 10 seconds for A, 20 seconds for B, 30 seconds for C. The ranges for each level of service there's different ranges and different time periods when calculating a level of service. No, we're not going to have a back and forth, all right? That's the answer. The answer is that emergency vehicles, when responding to an emergency, have the right-of-way over all other vehicles. The roads that lead into Canal Walk, if we're going to talk specifically about Canal Walk, are generally 36 to 40 feet wide, which leaves shoulders, plenty of space for an ambulance to pass a line of cars at an intersection. They do it all the time now throughout the township. Lights and sirens means everybody needs to yield to them. I watched it today at the intersection of Pierce Street and Elizabeth Avenue on my way home to go eat dinner before this meeting. And everybody pulled off to the side and the ambulance went through. And that was during rush hour. So it's, you know, when you talk about how long it takes for an ambulance to get to a call, a wide variety of variables. So that's, you know, I can't give you a time.
That being said, council is not oblivious to that traffic report. We recognize that traffic report. Right now, warehouses are not permitted use. There's people who have, the consultant has recommended something else for the master plan. The master plan is not a zoning. So right now, it's not a permitted use. And I guess I can only speak for myself. I'm quite aware of that traffic study. I wasn't at that planning board meeting, but I watched it.
Oh, there was one other question that the councilman just reminded me. So I think that Ms. Tallman asked the question, was money exchanged? Well, I don't think anyone up here was a witness to a check being handed over by B9 Schoolhouse LLC to Premier Development or whatever LLC Mr. Hiller was owned the property under. But I can tell you this, if you choose to take the time to register your name on the county clerk website and do property searches on the county clerk property search, you'll certainly find that there's a deed that was filed with the county clerk indicating that there was consideration given for the property on which B9 made their application to the tune of $24 million and change. And so a formal filed document indicated that consideration was made for the property. I don't know what much more there could be on our part as to know, was there in fact a sale of the property. Legally, I believe that indicates that there was a sale of the property, right, Ms. Berlin? Yes. There we go.
All right. I almost said something bad. Where the heck are we? Okay. Council comments, number 8. Let's see. Well, let's start with you, Mr. Wright.
Okay, real quick, here we go. Memorial Day Parade. Now, I was at the Memorial Day Parade, but I was at the beginning of the parade, down on the bottom, along with the beginning, God, who was it? Bob LaCourt. Sorry about that. And he said something very interesting to me. He's been doing the parade for almost 20 years, and he said, well, Franklin's Township parade, and I commented and I said, no, Bob, this is your parade. You've been down here 20 years. You've never seen the parade because you're always here, but you always put it together. Now, take ownership of the parade. And he says, well, okay, I'll take ownership. So I thought that was kind of funny on Bob's part. But here we go. I have 2 posters up here. This one is for the Civil War, the 1st United States Infantry Regiment, colored. And I'm going to read you something about it because it's very interesting. Just a short little blip. The 1st U.S. Colored Infantry Regiment, the United States War Department, on May the 22nd, 1863, activated a unit called the 1st U.S. Colored Infantry. They served from May 19, 1863 to September the 29th, 1865. Action scene: the Siege of Petersburg, Battle of Cheffins Farm, Battle of the Fair Oaks and Derrytown Road, Second Battle of the Fort Fisher, the Carolinas Campaign. They lost a total of 185 men during battle. When you look at all the other troops. Everyone says Civil War dead. Everyone talks about the American Revolution. Everyone talks about everybody else except these guys over here, what the Indians called buffalo soldiers because of their hair. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about service, the last full measure, please include the colored fighters of this country. Now, the next one I have for you, Juneteenth. Juneteenth is very important to, at that time, colored people. Juneteenth signifies on June 19, 1865, a proclamation was given to the Township of Texas, and I say township, all of Texas, that declared the Negro, black, were free. But you see, there was a problem with that. It took 2 years from the date that Lincoln signed it for it to end up in Texas. So actually, we were slaves for 2 years, but didn't know we were free. Now, at that particular point, when they came down and they said, okay, you're free, they were encouraged to stay on the farm, but only if they were paid to stay on the farm and work. Some of them did. Someone took freedom and just dispersed themselves. So again, Juneteenth is very important to us because it signifies the last outpost of slavery. Now, here's my beautiful banner. June 19th parade. Every year we give a parade now. And every year I'm going to come here, put the banner up and tell you, come on down and hang out with us. This year, it's June the 14th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we're going to discuss, loudspeakers, what does Juneteenth mean to me? How does that work for me? Now, Juneteenth is not just for me, it's for everybody. Everybody. Somewhere along the line, something happened that made you free. From the colonial wars to World War II with the Jewish population, everything happened. So again, come on down, hang out with us, Juneteenth parade. Now, the reason why the military is important to me is a long time ago, my mother wanted to be a nurse, registered nurse, but she didn't have the money to do it. So what did she do? She joined the forces. Uncle Sam said, come on down, join the Air Force, and I'll give you a degree. And that's exactly what she did. For 2 years, she got her degree in nursing, and as usual, you had to get time to Uncle Sam, so she was down in Fort Hood, Texas, and had a whole lot of fun, she said. But she came back home, got married, and we're still a nurse. Then my father, he went into the service in the Army. You know, come on down here, Uncle Sam needs you. There's a big time draft. So I have two parents that served in the military. And yes, when Mama passed, big time military came on down and gave us the flag. Last full measure, she didn't do it on the field. Other people do it on the field. And that's what the Memorial Day parade is all about. Now, some of us think it's a beautiful parade. Everybody comes down, gets a little red flag and waves it all around. But no, it's about those that go to war and don't come back. So we need to recognize that and give them the honor that's due. Now, as I said about the parade, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to let all of them talk about it because everybody else will have something to say. And since I took enough time, I'm out of here. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Mr. Potasnik.
Thank you, Councilman Member Wright. Just wanted to do a quick shout out for Franklin Pride. This is going to be the second annual Franklin Pride celebration. It's on Saturday, June 7th. It starts at 12 and it goes till 3. On a first come, first served basis, there's free ice cream, and there'll be performances at the gazebo, including the Franklin Band. We'll have the New Jersey Gay Men's Chorus. We'll have the cast of the Matilda from Villagers Theaters just across the way doing performances, as well as other dignitaries and speakers. It's a great way to get to meet other folks. In addition, there's going to be over a dozen different community-based organizations that you can learn about and get involved with, and churches, arts and crafts, and then there'll hopefully be some other food options, including baked goods, to support local businesses. So it's going to be a wonderful day. Feel free to bring a chair if you want to watch the performances and rest. In addition, bring a refillable water bottle, because we will have a water filling station for folks to get hydrated, assuming it's it's going to be warm as things warm up. Memorial Day was kind of strange Memorial Day for us. It was pretty cold, so it's kind of hard to imagine a few weeks of getting hotter, but that's the general trend, and we look forward to seeing all of you there. I want to thank the staff, particularly Safi Callan, for making that happen, and the Pride Planning Committee, and we look forward to a really great day. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mr. Vasanella.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, this past month, we did not have a public safety or public works meeting, but I do look forward to reporting out next month, because since our budget was passed successfully recently, we can now go out and spec and bid our projects, our infrastructure projects, which we are doing quite a bit from, some coming from the money, COVID money, some people call it, and other infrastructure bills from Washington. So we are moving along quite a bit, but we didn't have a meeting, so we'll be updating it as these bids and projects go out. I don't know what else we have to say about the Memorial Day Parade, but it was fantastic, and the weather was better than it's probably been in a decade. And I don't know, but it seemed like the longest parade we've had. And I'm not making light of it, but ironically, people were mentioning about emergency services. I know in the recent years we've bought some vehicles and increased our capability, but I'll tell you, that was a real parade of showing our volunteerism and our resources. I don't know if I've ever seen that many emergency vehicles in our parade before. It was obviously a lot of other things, dancers and antique cars and everything else, but just for what it's worth, and I'll piggyback on that, I'm well aware of the traffic study. I don't know every detail of it, and I'll ditto what the mayor's saying. Please don't assume what any of us are thinking or believing or ultimately vote or want as these master plan reviews and possible zoning changes of any kind happen or don't happen. So I also, and I'm sure everyone else on council falls into this category, I also know what I see with my own eyes, and I've watched this town for 60 years. So as good as the reports are and should be seriously considered, we can see what's out there, and we can review it, and as an individual and as a majority of council come up with whatever ways we can deal with keeping that situation under control. So please just, and any thoughts about it, tell us, email, phone, whatever way you want, come to the meeting. So just wanted to put that out there. Otherwise, we still have a couple meetings, but for those who don't know, because I actually wasn't sure what day we're going to have our other extravaganza we have each year, our 4th of July fireworks, and is that on the 3rd, which I believe, yes, okay. Again, this year it's on the 3rd, so although we have a couple council meetings, but please put that on your calendar. Hopefully we'll get as good weather and turnout as we did for Memorial Day Parade. And yes, thank you, Bob LaCourte, for 2 decades of doing what you do to honor, as Mr. Wright said, people who make the ultimate sacrifice. I think that's it, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Francois.
I haven't talked about the youth center lately, which used to be my favorite topic, but there is one program I wanted to highlight because I think it was phenomenal. We had a youth center drone program. It was a 6-week program all free. It was for youth center members from the ages of 11 to 18, and they learned all about drone technology. And as you know, if you've been watching the news or if you live in America, you know that drones are everywhere now. So they learned a lot about the drone technology. It's a $30 billion business right now. And I think in terms of the skills and the learning about the technology and learning about the future of drones and their different use cases, it's the future. So we had a 6-week introduction program, and the kids were able to do drone racing league simulations. They led student-led flight demonstrations. They talked about obstacles and challenges. They did a simulator-based flight through hands-on lessons in drone safety and maneuvering. I didn't get a chance to go to the graduation, but I can tell you that their dedicated parents were there. They were beaming in pride and attendance of how their children showcased their drone skills and their teamwork. And because it was so successful, we're going to have another program that will be free. And we're able to offer that program for free based on the grant that we got from Assemblyman Joe Danielson, which is a wonderful thing. We're not offering that program anywhere else in Franklin Township, and we plan on giving another version of this in the fall. So I just wanted to highlight that because for the children that participated, they learned a lot about the technology for free. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I'm going to take a drone course.
Yeah, our recreation department would probably get a lot of adults. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that is a subject more and more people are interested in. I know, it's a youth center, not an adult center.
Embarrassing.
Sorry, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we are working with RVCC to begin a series of advanced manufacturing workforce training at the Franklin Board of Education campus on Route 27. We'll probably be in the class in July, mid-July, 2 days a week. Again, it's an introductory course that's going to begin with the 3D printing, and then it's going to move on to machine shop related courses, which would eventually become credit-worthy. In other words, if people who take those courses pass the national credential exams, those courses will translate into college credits towards advanced manufacturing training degree at RVCC. And then if you so choose to carry on to NJIT engineering program in manufacturing, that'll be accepted as a valid credits. So that we are excited about the program. We are going to be announcing, we are going to be putting out flyers and the schedule very soon. We hope the people of our township take advantage of these programs that we are bringing in. Again, these are tuition-based programs. We do not incur any expense from the township except offering to host the program at our facilities owned by the Franklin Board of Education. Other than that, I have continued to work on bringing the YMCA to town. We are still talking to philanthropists throughout the town and other government agencies in order to mobilize the funds. A little slow in the making, but we think we will get there eventually. We had a planning board meeting on the 21st. For those of you who watched, there were 2 hearings. And then there's a number of, on the cultural aspect, I think Mr. Walker mentioned about learning different cultures. This town has so many different groups of people from many different countries, many different cultures. As a township, we celebrate different cultures as well throughout the year, major festivals. Last weekend, I happened to attend a Turkish Day festival in town on Cotton Tail Road. Wonderful, wonderful event. A lot of Turkish people showed up. Speeches, performances, music, dances, food, of course. Wonderful, wonderful 2-day event. So I would encourage all of us to experience different cultures that are different than ours. I think the young men spoke very eloquently about understanding the different culture is the first thing that you need to know to overcome the fear of the cultures. So these events are a good example of the cultural diversity in the town, and it gives all of us an opportunity to go and learn different cultures which are different from ours. And apart from that, there was a Central Jersey Transportation Forum. The county hosted the Central Jersey Transportation Group at the Duke Farms. If you have not visited Duke Farms in Hillsborough, please do. Great place to visit. They offer tours. It's in the natural preserved land. It's a beautiful place. Other than that, AAPI celebration. And that's another event that Governor hosts every year at the Drumthwacket. I was invited as a AAPI member, so I was there to celebrate the AAPI Heritage Month, which we gave a proclamation in the last council meeting. That's all I got, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Onijaka.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Let me talk a little bit about diversity as it positively affects African community. Cultural diversity is one of the tripods that form the basis of Franklin Township. We cannot overemphasize its importance in Franklin. In Franklin Township, African community makes up 20% of the total diversity and the cultural section. We also have individuals serving in different areas contributing to the growth of Franklin Township. As at this moment, the Sierra Leonean community in Africa, they have their own cultural day. They established a cultural day, which we are trying to bring all other Africans together to have one day for diversity and cultural celebration. If we can extend this cultural diversity to communities by having a cultural day in Franklin, that will be very, very helpful. I'm suggesting if we can have one day for different culture and different diversity, come up one day and do exposure of our culture. That will help also to promote our diversity. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Dr. Karazi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to build upon what my colleague, Councilman Ram mentioned, besides the Turkish festival, we had the Greek one, and there are two more coming. The Lebanese and Hungarian is going to be coming, I think, in a week or so. So please take advantage of it. It's just amazing festivities. And we are lucky to live in a place that you don't have to travel to Greece to learn about Greek. You don't have to go to Istanbul to learn about Turkish because you can see right there and so forth. So please take advantage of that. But there's one thing that I also wanted to add. The Franklin Day is coming up. I believe it's going to be September 20th, probably. So I encourage anybody who wishes to showcase their culture, please come. That's a wonderful event. You have probably 10,000, if the weather is great, maybe more than that, people coming. And imagine we have some tent after tent or one large tent with different cultures of people that they live in township. From music, from arts, from slideshow of your country that you've come from, introduce it. Sweets, food, share with the people. So it's a wonderful opportunity for all of us to take advantage of that Franklin Day. So just wanted to mention that that is coming up, and I hope people will come and showcase their culture. That's what I have. And also a couple of other things. So we're going to have the Advisory Board of Health annual presentation to the council on June 24. So please come you'll be pleased to hear from the chair of Advisory Board of Health, which I also am the liaison, about the accomplishments and also the goal for the rest of the year. We also had the senior citizen meeting, and Mr. Manager, I heard quite a bit complain about some of the projects that not being done, so I've connected with Carl. There's a big list that we have.
Yes, you and I will talk about that offline.
All right.
Because
So-
I need to be notified by you.
Okay. So, but anyhow, so that's, they like to see some of the stuff is being done, and I'm sure it will be taken care of, hopefully, in the future. That's what I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Udine.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things that I had. So May 30th, this Friday, I will be at Canal Walk. There is an anchor program that is being hosted by Assemblyman Joe Danielson, and it's in line with our state treasurer. So we'll be, there was a series that was done, and the next one, which is on Friday, it will be in Canal Walk Clubhouse. So if you are in Canal Walk, mark your calendar. It's 1 to 2 p.m. That's all around property tax relief program. If you have questions around taxes, anything specific for the treasurer, they will be there, and they encourage people to ask questions as they are going live with their slideshow. So again, May 30th at Canal Walk from 1 to 2 p.m. June 4th, now moving out to June 4th, I will be in Somerset Run. There is a seminar that's happening in Somerset Run for estate planning with guest speaker Tina Jola. So we will be there. For that event, if there's someone that's interested that would like to be at Somerset Run for that specific seminar, please let me know, and I'll add you to my guest list. So that takes me to the health fair series that I spoke about last council meeting, and there were some questions that came up as, you know, what is this health series, health fair series? And it's the non-traditional, which means we're not doing like a vendor booth. We are strictly going to like more seminar-based, educating the residents and talking specifically about things that formed an interest from a lot of the residents. So the feedback came out from the residents to myself and the staff as we were talking to people. And so the first one starting in July is around bone density and July 30th. So you'll start seeing more programs rolling out, and I'll start talking about it as it gets closer. So July 30th, bone density. July 31st, we're doing anxiety workshop. So there's a lot of things that are happening, and I know a lot of folks have mentioned and provided feedback. So I want to thank everyone that's been working on putting this together, but we are not looking at a traditional vendor booth where we get 50 vendors coming in and just set tables and they give free, you know, stress balls or water bottles. We're looking at really educating the residents, and I think that's more meaningful because that way you could do more takeaways and understand what's important to you, and you get to choose what workshop you want. So if you can't make it to all, you want specific ones. That way you're able to join the ones that matter to you. And it's all going to happen at the senior center, so it's a common space. We're trying to look for timing that works during the day, so it's not so much in the evening. It's something that works out for everyone. We spoke a lot about culture and diversity, so I won't get into the stuff that's happening. I think we all kind of spoke about that. We spoke about the traffic study. I want to mention that, you know, that's the reason why we did a traffic study, right? We all approved that ordinance, and we paid some third-party vendor to run that study, so give better understanding of what's happening in town. We live in this town. We go through the same roads as you'd go through, so completely understand the frustration sometimes at those peak hours when you're trying to get to a shop, right, or you're trying to get to Route 27, and even the Middle Bush is all backed up. So, you know, I agree to everyone mentioning around traffic study, and that study itself is online. So if you haven't had a chance to take a look at it, feel free. I think there's going to be more discussions as we get to that, but definitely understand where you're coming from on the traffic study. Last thing I do want to mention is, you know, I have a neighbor, Billy, and I want to give a shout out to him. He is actually right now took his dog, Jenny, to doctor, and, you know, sad news. She's at a very late state of cancer, and I just got the news he had to put her down. So prayers for Billy, my neighbor, and we talk about a lot of good things, but just got the alert that, you know,
So very sad, and prayers to that family. That's all I had, Mayor.
Thank you. So Mr. Wright eloquently gave thanks to Mr. LaCourte for the Memorial Day Parade. I just want to add, Mr. LaCourte has always strived to make that parade nonpartisan, non-political. He sets the rules. We give a nod to that. Within the First Amendment rights, he limits campaign signs. He limits handing out of literature. He limits people who are running. He doesn't have them speak. I think this time he got a hernia trying to keep that going, but he did. And it was, you couldn't even tell this country had parties if you went to that Memorial Day parade. And it's not easy for him to do that, but he does that well. There's one service at the library I want people to know about. They have an apparatus or several apparatus for converting media. So if you have an old cassette tape that you want onto a thumb drive, if you have a VHS, you want to put that on a thumb drive. Everything goes on a thumb drive now. It has ways of converting old media to new media. You get in touch with the library, you reserve a time, and then you can go at it. So that's, thousands of dollars you might spend that you can save. I don't know how quick it is. I don't know how much availability there is, but that service is available. Then the last thing I want to talk about is I got some letters from some students from the 5th grade at Franklin Park School. And I thought I would read 3 of them. One of them has to do with the library, so I'll read that at the next library board meeting, which is tomorrow, in person at the library. And let me read some of these. I, Justin, as his last name, a resident of Franklin Township, is sending you this letter because this is happening on the trails of Franklin Township, and I want this to change by recycling the garbage to better the environment. This is happening because people keep littering on these sacred trails, and this is how we can fix it, by cleaning the trails. I'd like you to address this before the summer, please. So that was about littering on the trails. The next one is, Dear Mayor Kramer, I, Amar, a student of Franklin Township, is sending you this letter because there is a lot of trash on the streets. This is happening due to careless citizens of the town, trash such as empty soda cans, empty water bottles, and cigarette filters. This is how we can fix it, by putting trash and recycling bins around the parks and other areas. Another area that is diagnosed with litter is cigarettes by the stone part of the sidewalk. I'd like this to change within a month. I would like people to stop littering, and that doesn't. I'm not pushing that off. We do try to put out as much trash cans as we can. We have these big belly cans that are solar powered, internet connected, and they tell our DPW when they're full, so they can empty them. But sometimes it is hard to keep up with them. And then I got this. I, an Aga resident of Franklin Township, is sending you this letter because of wild and strayed animals coming near our apartment. This is happening because neighbors are giving food or keeping food outside, which then the animals come to and eat. I want this to change because these stray and wild animals can carry disease that can spread to us. This is happening, and how can we fix it is by making a strict rule that says no feeding or no putting food outside, since the animals come and eat it. If the people disobey the rule, they should pay a fine. I would love to have this problem fixed as soon as possible. Thank you for your prompt attention. Actually, I'd gotten similar messages from 3 other adults. I have written an ordinance, and we've had some suggestions about it. At our next admin meeting, we will discuss it again and see where we can go with that. But because of them writing me these letters, I went to Franklin Park School and gave the 4 students a commendation, and I spoke to the class. It was quite a bit of fun. Everyone was quite excited, and I hope to do it some more. And that is what I have. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple quick things. One, for residents throughout Franklin Township, because our recycling is divided up into 2 different days. Due to the Memorial Day holiday, Somerset County has notified all municipalities with recycling collections this week that there may be delays in the collection. And if your day is normally Thursday and you don't get picked up on Thursday, leave it out until Friday. If your day is normally Friday, leave it out until it is collected. You are not being forgotten. It's just that they may fall behind by a day. The next thing is I'm actually going to address an email that I just received by Mrs. Brandt. Mrs. Brandt just sent an email to myself and Mr. Dominack and the mayor. And it is a screenshot of a commercial website, njparcels.com, and it appears to have the wrong zoning for a parcel at 104 Schoolhouse Road. So I will read to you what it says at the bottom of njparcels.com. The information displayed here is obtained from public records. NJ Parcels makes no guarantees on the validity of the data presented. Information should be independently confirmed, and you use the information displayed here at your own risk. NJ Parcels is not a consumer reporting agency per the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and NJ Parcels is not a title search company. And if you go to the Township website, and you go to the home page, and at the top click on interactive map and go to the legend on the left and click zoning, you will find that that parcel that is listed as ROL, which actually no longer exists in the Franklin Township zoning code, is actually listed as BI. So therefore, I would not rely on any data that I were to obtain from the internet unless it's from a reliable source. And I certainly would not consider NJ Parcels a reliable source. In fact, if you go to the NJ Parcels website right now, you can also book a cruise on Royal Caribbean and get an account with US Bank. So it's a commercial website. It's not valid for any type of legitimate research. Use your municipal website, use your municipal zoning map, not some website called NJ Parcels. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Brandt, you know the rules.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I just want to add something quick if the manager was finished.
Okay.
I said thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I didn't hear you. No, and thank you for the update. I just want to piggyback. You made me think again of Memorial Day. Yes, Bob LaCourte handles it in a very pure and accommodating way. I just want to mention our own P.J. Parker, the other half of Franklin reporter and advocate. I can't remember the student's name, but there was 2 beautiful songs sang there at that Memorial Day parade that were really heart-wrenching, and I recommend anybody watch that service, or whatever you want to call it, the ceremony. And I know it was a little long, and the mayor was up there too. He's a history buff, but I was standing, but I was enjoying every minute of the speaker, who also gave a very intriguing history of Franklin Township. A lot of facts that the mayor might have known, but I didn't know. So just for what it's worth, I don't know if it's out there on YouTube or on the internet, but it's worth taking a look at that ceremony that really highlighted. Oh, and Steve Gulhooley, who was the longtime MC. So a lot of Franklin people, but anybody, by the way, it's not closed. Anybody who wants to get involved in any of these events in a significant way, please come forward. I'm sure we will embrace anybody who wants to get involved with any of the events. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. No council discussion item, though I feel like we've had it. Approval of the minutes, there are none. Time to pay the bills. Warrants in the amount of $3,118,326.38 on May 27th, 2025 are presented to the Township Council for payment. To have a motion on the warrants.
So moved. Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Anyone like to pull an item, discuss an item? Madam Clerk.
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Udine? Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Item number 13, calendar year 2025, Hamilton Street Special Improvement District Assessment Roll. Public hearing on the calendar year 2025 Hamilton Street SID Assessment Roll is appropriate. Do we have a motion to open for public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. We are open for public hearing. This time on Hamilton Street SID Assessment Roll only. Same rules as before. Anyone wishing to speak?
Mayor, seeing no one coming up to speak, I will motion it.
No.
Oh, please, come up.
Come
Raising
on
your hand. I didn't.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
My name's John Baptist. I've been on Hamilton Street for 55 years, which is probably longer than any of the property owners that own property on that street now. This is my third Hamilton Street improvement.
Your address, please.
agenda.
Your address, please.
858 Hamilton Street.
Thank you.
And this is the third time I've gone through this process. The first time they're planting some cherry trees, which the cars came along and knocked down. The second time I got accessed for thousands of dollars, we got some benches, we got some flags which fell down and the wind tore up. We got some garbage cans which never got empty. And that's all we got. Now, here we go again. I want to know what this money is supposed to do, how much is supposed to be raised, how long will this assessment go on? And I want answers to these questions. And I think that's only fair. Only thing we got the notice that you approved it. We had no prior notice that you were even considering it, which was not fair. I don't think that's right. Last time was millions of dollars that collected, and I told you what we got. We got nothing. Now we got an improvement. We got 6 marijuana joints within a block, within 2 miles. 8 if you count the ones out on 27. This is improvement? I don't think so. What's this money to be used for? More garbage cans? More flags? More trees? Give me an answer.
Anyone else?
Can I ask a real quick question? You own a house on Hamilton Street? Did she just say that?
It's a business, not a house, Councilman.
Okay. That's what I missed.
Come on up.
My name is Squiglin Dobbin. I live at 128 Cosset Street, which is within the Hamilton Street zone. I received a letter regarding the assessment, but that is not even so much my main concern. Is what impact does the assessment have on the private homes, especially off Hamilton Street? I'm on Cosset Street. Number 2, like the gentleman said, there are dispensaries that put up all over Hamilton Street, which is not good for our children. We've been fighting this situation. We see it in Edgemere, where drugs have been infested and a problem, and now we're making it legal on Hamilton Street. This is not good, and I'd like if somebody would address that problem, please.
Sir, just so you know, your assessment is zero. It has no impact on you. You're a private homeowner, and there is no monetary assessment on your property. It's just that your property falls within the special improvement district based on the limits that were set many, many years ago as to where the limits of the special improvement district are. It's basically one block in from Hamilton Street on both sides of Hamilton Street, so you have no assessment. You are not, no private residences are assessed for the improvement district. It's zero. I'm looking at the assessment chart right here.
As to the second question that I talked about was the amount of dispensaries, which it seems like there's no limit because they're popping up everywhere. And this is not good for our children.
That's something that that's the council would have to address that.
Well,
Anyone else wishing to speak? We're gonna do this the same way as we do general comments. We're not gonna answer till we're done.
Hello everyone, good evening. My name is Jagdish Patel. I'm from 921 Hamilton Street, Somerset, New Jersey. I want to know that I spend around $18,000 to $20,000 past. Is there any counselor or anyone come to that address and check it out? Is there any development happen? Why I spend $18,000 to $20,000? And second things that still you want to go again that things. My suggestion, you have to stop that nonsense because there is no way you can spend that kind of money and doing nothing. Just sometime I figure out a couple of benches, not on my place, and garbage can. That's it. We're spending $18,000 to $20,000 for that reason. You supposed to be look when we spending the money, they go to the worth or not. If not worth it, then stop that all things. They put the light, no make sense. What is the light? You cannot read over, you cannot walk from there. That's all. Look over there and what you did on $18,000 to $20,000. And I figure out something that they're not gonna develop anything on my street. And you people look, Hamilton Street, what you did. Develop, what kind of development you did it? Wasting of the money. And right now it is very difficult to run the business. And even though you want more burden to the customer. Thank you.
Anyone else? Sure. No, you have to, can someone bring, Vince, can you bring her the microphone, please?
I just want to bring it to the
Yeah, name and address,
of the council.
Ma'am, name and address, please.
Pardon? Oh, Julie Higgins, Route 518. Says it's Princeton, but we're really not Princeton. But the years ago, we had a whole issue with a pipeline that wants to come through our property. Everybody thought it was over, and they went away,
Ms.
but they're
Higgins,
back.
Ms. Higgins, I'm sorry, and we spoke earlier today. This is about Hamilton Street. The general comment time was earlier today. It was the first public session that we had. I feel very badly but I've got to follow the rules. I know you came here especially to talk about the pipeline, and I'll be happy to talk with you more about it after the meeting, but I can't do that. Yeah, I wanted to see the copy of the letter that you got. What she's talking about is she's gotten a letter from Williams Transco. They're talking about the gas pump station again. We think, we don't know, but I'm sorry, back to the Hamilton Street. Anyone else wishing to speak about Hamilton Street? I'm sorry, ma'am.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Yatin Patel, and we own the 653 Hamilton Street, and we own 645 Hamilton Street. And I never come in the meeting. I just first time I came and I see the letter came in the mail. There's like a CY 2025 special assessment. So I don't even know what is that assessment and where they're gonna invest the money. But in my house, they put the zero money, and like only the 653, they put like $71.94. So there's, I have no idea what is that for the money for the assessment.
So you want to know what that money is for? So you're in a special improvement district, and that money can only be spent on improvements within the special improvement district. It's been used for things like tree planting, sidewalk replacement, street lighting, banners. The events that occur on Hamilton Street are funded out of that. And I know there's a number of people here, and I just want to remind council, up until 2014, the Hamilton Street Business District was a corporation that did the annual assessments for the Special Improvement District. In 2014, council took over the responsibilities of that. Since 2014, there has been no assessment. So the 2014 was the last year for an assessment. And since then, there have been none. So in the last 10 years, there have been no assessments to fund any of the projects along Hamilton Street. This SID budget calls for an assessment of $34,268.34. The way that that's calculated is just based on the assessed value of your property times a multiplier. This multiplier to get to that number is 0.0002004 cents per 100. Yes, that residential properties are not assessed as part of the only commercial properties. So you have that one property that's a commercial property, right? And that property got your number is correct, 71 and change.
And how that that gonna be every quarter?
So no, that's an annual assessment.
That's annual assessment.
That's an annual assessment, and it'll be it's paid quarterly, like taxes, every quarter, right? Every quarter, and it's just for this year.
Well, only for this year.
There could be an assessment next year or not, depending on what work is the improvement district is looking to do. What I would strongly suggest to anyone, including the gentlemen who have already spoken about this, is that the Hamilton Street Advisory Board is comprised of a number of different types of members. There are resident members. You're a resident member. You could be on the advisory board. There are local business members. And then there are staff members. Mr. Dominic is the director as far as staff is concerned, and there are elected officials. If you want to know what's happening in the Hamilton Street District, you can attend the meetings. The meetings are held here in this room, right? You're generally in this room.
Every
they're usually, now they've gone to quarterly meetings, but certainly what I would say is that you should speak to Mr. Dominic, who's the director, and he can give you information that would maybe help you in understanding the things that are being done and what's going to be done in the future. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
So, but yes, it is just an annual assessment, and it's this year's assessment. Like I said, that may not be the case next year, or it could be less, it could be more, it could be none.
And it's going to be effect for the residential house next year, or
no? It's never for houses. It's always only just for commercial, and that's by by design. It's intended for commercial assessments for the improvement of the shopping district along Hamilton Street.
But the couple gentlemen told that they have a lot of dispensary stores over there and getting
and they're getting an assessment too. Any building that's a commercial property gets an assessment.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Javon Walker, 15 Coon Street. Mr. Bornlocker, I'm curious to know what the total assessment, like what's the total price for all the improvements being done for Hamilton?
The assessment is what I just told you, $34,268. I don't have, I mean, I can, let me just do something here. Hold on. So what I might be able to do for you is total up the column here. Bear in mind that the assessed value is going to include all properties in the SID, not just the commercial properties that are assessed. It's going to include every
So I could assume that 34,000 is going to be raised from all the commercial properties.
That's it. So 34,000 is raised from all of the commercial properties. The total assessed value in this SID is 235 million. Like I said, this spreadsheet I'm looking at.
That's the assessed or fair market value?
That's the assessed value.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
So it is based on an assessment. Okay. So any property that is commercial has an assessment. These assessments annually range from what looks to be, there's a couple properties here that are only assessed about $35 or $40, and the largest assessment is one of the big shopping centers, okay, and that looks to be about $3,827.
All right, so question for you and/or the council. Is it possible to set up like an ordinance where the first hit that you raise from raising the taxes and reassessing values is to the cannabis dispensaries? Is that possible? Or do you have, like, basically what I'm saying is you sent out a special assessment to be able to pay for these improvements, right? And you sent it to all
there's an ordinance that created a special improvement district 20 years ago. Okay. And that special improvement district requires certain things to be done. And that's one of those things is an assessment to raise funds for the improvements along the district, hence the name Special Improvement District. And that was a decision of council many, many years ago. Like I said, that Special Improvement District was run by a district management corporation for years, and it was determined that there was dissatisfaction in the manner in which it was being run and the work that was being done. And so the decision was by council to take and be the district management corporation. Okay. And appoint an executive director and create a Hamilton Street Advisory Board, as opposed to the District Management Corporation having their own, and it was a 501c3 corporation.
Is it possible to propose like a new ordinance that can supersede that? Is that possible?
You can propose anything you want to the 9 people that sit next to me, but I would suggest that before you propose things, maybe you attend a meeting.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's it for me. Just wanted to ask on that.
Yep.
Just to let you know that the next meeting of the advisory board is on July 7th, if I'm not mistaken. So anybody who's interested to learn more, if they have a question, please come to that meeting. It's going to be here at 7 o'clock, and there you will see the members of that advisory board, and then you can ask all questions that you have. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else?
We'll close out and then we'll speak.
Yeah.
Can we'll close the public portion, Mayor?
We have public portion still.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I know Councilman Wright wants to speak, but Mayor, I'll motion.
Mr. Vasanella, let me speak. Does anyone else wish to speak?
That's what I was going to ask.
Okay.
Sorry, Mayor, that's what I was getting to. So if no one else wants to speak about the Hamilton assessment, I'm going to motion to close the public portion of that.
Mayor, I just have one comment. To the residents of the Hamilton Street.
There's a motion on the table.
We're in a motion to close public session. So moved and seconded.
Second.
Moved and seconded twice. All in favor of closing public session?
Aye.
Let me say it.
Wow.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you. You have a...
Yeah, so I'm just looking at the board commission vacancies. There is a Hamilton Street Advisory Board. There is a vacancy for 100% residential member. And one of the gentlemen who lives...
Mr. Baptist.
Who lives in the street as a
Mr.
and
Beck?
has a residence, I would ask you become a member of the Hamilton
That would
Street
be the
Advisory
gentleman
Board.
that I was just talking to. That's why I said it.
Yes, there is a vacancy, so you can become a member.
Yes, sir.
3 vacancies.
I think there's 2 left, but for what it's worth, right in line with what Councilman Ram is saying, we are looking, matter of fact, I have a proposal, just haven't had time to put it forward, been talking to Councilwoman Francois. We're going to add slots for, I don't want to get into exact details because we were going to talk about it in our meeting, as we're supposed to do, and we'll bring it, but to where people from the public, both business and residents, can get more involved, because I think there's a lot going on there and a lot more people want to. So yes, I encourage people to come to the meeting. There are some openings, and there very well may be even more openings in the near future. And that really is the way to have your voice heard, because everything that is voted on, everything that is spent is recommended by that group, and you could be part of that discussion. And that proposed budget and the items budgeted comes out of those work sessions. And we don't just rubber stamp, but unless we find something really off about it, we'll tend to go with their recommendation, just to put it in practical terms. We technically have control, but we defer to this advisory board of volunteers. So please, please get involved. And Mr. Baptist left. He's been here for decades and a very reasonable man. I don't go by the philosophy it's only $10 or $50. But to put it into perspective, because some numbers came up, it is very low, and that $70 you mentioned is for an entire year. So to put into perspective, these assessments are extremely small bits in comparison to other special investment districts in the state and other types of programs like this. So you're really getting a lot. And there was something mentioned about it goes for things like trees. It does, although recently, and one reason we have not had an assessment that cost one dime to the commercial properties for for a decade now, as the manager was pointing out, is because we've been doing things innovatively, like finding a $250,000 in a shade tree fund that paid for $250,000 worth of important green improvements, and we didn't have to ask one dime from the assessments from the bid. So years ago, there were some good things done with the money and not such good things. We revamped it. One of the first things I think Mr. Vornlacher did, if I remember, is myself and some other council people restructure, and we spent hours and hours thinking the best way to do it. And is it perfect? Probably not, but it's pretty darn good and a lot better than it used to be. So again, in a decade that the ordinance changed and the whole structure, zero cost to the commercial owners. Now there's a very small cost. We will do what we can to keep it to minimal amount or nothing. But again, get involved. You will, I don't want to say control, but you will have a say in the narrative and what, how your money is spent. So I just wanted to put it into kind of a perspective that hopefully will answer some of these questions and concerns. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
No, it's
no.
Microphone, Councilman.
Somebody mentioned cannabis, and I want to address that issue right quick. We didn't see it coming. We looked at it, and I'm going to say it was a grab for tax dollars. My colleagues might say I'm wrong, but that's what I thought it was. And we didn't see the amount of cannabis shops coming. Now, should we have capped it earlier? Yes, but it didn't happen. When we realized it, we caught up to it, we capped it. And then we had it roll back down to what we wanted it. And did we start at 21? Did we cap at 21 and roll down to 18? Mr. Vornlacher?
18 is the number. It's 18. We capped it at 18, yes.
Okay. And I'm going to take the hit for that. Maybe I shouldn't. Now, as far as looking at that cannabis situation, I don't like it. It's here. and I have to put my hands around it to strangle it, because yes, we do have it here. Yes, they are on the side street. And yes, unfortunately, there are four, I believe, in walking distance from the fire department, community fire department, I don't know, Berry Street, all the way down to, and I don't know what the gas station is. Mr. Dominic, what is the gas station on Hamilton Street? The last one across the street from what I think is the Korean church.
You're talking about the BP Amico?
Yeah.
That's Shevchenko and Hamilton Street.
Between that stretch, there's probably four. There are four of them there, and two of them you can just like walk out of one and walk into the other store. And what we're looking for is attrition. Not everybody can survive being right next door to each other. Somebody has to go. It's the law of economics. You know how people want to start at the far ends, but they get greedy and they keep moving in. Before you know it, they side by side. Somebody got to go. And that's one thing that I'm looking for to whittle them down. So I got to put myself in that position of just waiting for that to happen. It's going to be a while, but I got my finger on that switch. Now, again, tax dollars, again, didn't see it coming. We thought it was going to be one thing, and God forbid it turned out to be something else. I don't know what the tax dollars. What have we brought in so far? Do you know, Mr. Dominic?
How much so far? I would say in 2023, I think it was $120,000, give or take, and in 2024, it was about $400,000. So we're up to about $520,000, and without speculation, without speculation, it will go up this year. There's other types of businesses that have come online that, besides dispensaries, where we'll also get tax money, cultivating and distribution businesses as well. There certainly is a saturation point. We've talked about that on a number of occasions, where regardless of the number of dispensaries you have, there's only so much demand. So I would imagine at some point, once we'll hit that saturation point. I think one has already closed, and I think that's probably because there was much anticipation that wasn't met as far as their business was concerned.
That's what I'm looking at.
And that's going to happen.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I'm sorry, but blame it on me. I'll take the hit. My backyard, I said, 4-4, my backyard, and we're going to make do. But again, we just have to watch that marijuana. I thought it was going to end up like the liquor stores, being so far apart that you could handle it, but it didn't happen that way. We didn't see it that way. We didn't zone it that way, and I should have looked at it. But that's what happened to the marijuana. I want to make sure everybody knows where it came from, how it got there, so that when it comes time to actually put a finger on it, the finger's right over here. Thank you.
Go ahead.
So there's two things I want to say. I want to piggyback on what Councilman Wright said. Yes, the market is overly saturated, and we did put a cap because of that. And because of demand, some of them will close, because oversupply and under demand eliminates business. Number two, I want to say, I heard a lot here tonight about we're assessing you, and you want to know what's going on with the money. I also heard that, you're not too happy with the trees and the garbage cans. And we did put in cameras, what I think helped with security on that, on Hamilton Street. But what we need to hear, we've certainly mentioned that people need to get involved, and we want you to get involved. We need your input. But I think for those of us that are on the Hamilton Street Advisory Board, we need to listen to the complaints that we heard tonight, where we're assessing people, and they don't like what we're doing with the money that we have assessed them on, even though we haven't done an assessment in over 10 years. So we need to take that under advisement. There's 4 of us up here on the Hamilton Street Advisory Board. And, it is very unfortunate that we had so many cannabis businesses come to Hamilton Street, and that's why we put a cap. Like Councilman Rice said, we didn't foresee it was going to happen that way, but it's called free enterprise. So that's all I have to say, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else?
No, and not that I want to sound defensive of what Councilwoman Francois just said, but the reality is that the voters of the state of New Jersey voted to legalize cannabis. The voters here in Franklin Township overwhelmingly voted to legalize cannabis. The decision was made by the governing body to allow cannabis dispensaries, and the Cannabis Regulatory Commission, throughout the early stages of licensing of cannabis facilities, made it known loud and clear often that towns would be limited to the number of cannabis dispensaries, and that, in a town our size, we should anticipate no more than 8 licenses. And I'm not talking about 8 dispensary licenses. I mean 8 licenses for any type of cannabis business. And what clearly happened was, while the state of New Jersey voters voted to pass cannabis and legalize cannabis, and municipalities where many municipalities where the voters overwhelmingly voted yes, chose not to allow for cannabis dispensaries in their towns. So these businesses were severely limited as to where they could go. And the Regulatory Commission went back on their word, bottom line. And they approved way more than we thought they ever would in a very short period of time. And, we did what we did, but I think that there was a lot of double cross. Let's put it that way.
And once that happened, we realized that that's when we put a cap. Okay.
So there was also a question of no prior notice. Mr. Dominic, do you want to address that?
Well, notice goes out by the clerk makes notice to every property owner in the manner, in certified and regular mail. So that's the only way to do notice on any type of assessment. So every parcel in the SID that has an address attached to it received regular mail and certified mail.
And did we do it at the times appropriate?
Yes, it had to be
Microphone.
Microphone, Anne-Marie.
It had to be at least 10 days, and it was over 10
Okay.
10 days from what?
from today.
Yeah, Mayor, I think that's where some of the confusion comes, that some of the people here, and just put, this is important, I think they are suggesting they weren't notified prior to the Hamilton budget being sent to council, or council voting to approve the budget. So although we're following the law the way we're supposed to, with informing them of the assessment after the fact, I think what may be helpful, and we can't figure it out tonight, is a way for them, because not everybody can get involved or go to the meetings, but could be made aware of the budget if they're in the district when it's being discussed, and then I'm going to say recommended to council for passage, because that's when it would be, these issues would be perhaps part of how that budget evolves and is finally presented to council. So we're following the law, but I think we can do more, is what I'm saying.
The budget is published in the newspaper
I understand that, but it's and we are following the law, and I know you're following the law, but I'm saying this is a special investment district, and I would like us to explore, we don't have to do it tonight, ways that they could be aware prior to, in a way where it's almost too late. So again, I just want to add that clarity, because I think that's where...
It's not too late. If you voted no to the improvement district assessment, then you would have to go back and would have to...
You're right, Mr. Vornlacher. I'm just saying from a practical standpoint.
This is the end result.
Right,
yeah.
but at a practical standpoint, we could have more constructive input as opposed to some upset or last-minute concerns brought to council as it's going through that process, which starts, I'm going to say, a few months back from where we're at now. So we're not going to solve it tonight, but again, I think we can come up with something, because it is a special assessment, that we notify the people that could actually end up having to pay additional taxes. So
I'll just make one comment on that. There are a few things folks can do. You can subscribe to the website, and you can check off boxes for the different boards and commissions you're interested in. And when there's updates related to those, like agendas, you can get a notice in your inbox, and you can click on it and see if there's anything of interest. So I think the technology is already there, and we have a lot of public notice requirements within the Public Open Meetings Act, and it's incumbent upon the affected folks to follow those. And this hearing of the budget is the official notice for it, but I don't think we need to pay an airplane to fly over the area to let them know it's happening. I would suggest folks to look into that. If you have questions, you can contact the clerk or the folks in the business office. I subscribe to a lot of different things, boards and commissions I'm not on, to get those updates so I can monitor what's happening and decide if I'm going to attend. It's a great reminder, and it's not AI, but it's a nice technological feature.
Mr. Dominic, the question was asked, what is the money going to be used for?
Well, this year's budget is $40,000, but $6,000 of that is money that can only be spent on emergency preparedness. So the majority of the money is being spent on marketing, banners. We hold events on Juneteenth, Week of the People, and miscellaneous, and for Halloween. That's where most of the money is spent.
And
that's every year. Most of the money is spent doing that. In the past, we've spent money on various studies. As Mr. Vornlacher pointed out, we spent about $500,000 in the last 10 years doing infrastructure improvements, which included sidewalk and curbing and the tree removal and the tree plantings, and several hundred other $1,000s on other types of improvements. Most of that, the majority of that, is not through the special assessment. It's because the township was able to find funds from CDBG or the Shade Tree Commission, because of the way that council decided. In the past, the CID would have raised the taxes for the last, it would have raised $500,000 and it would have used that. You gave Bob and I a mandate to not tax, to try to find the money through different sources, which is what we've been doing with the help of the 3 or 4 of your council people, saying, making sure that we do that and don't tax them every year.
Prior to the council taking over the CID and the improvement, and as the management corporation, the annual budget was between $80,000 and $90,000 a year. And all of that was raised through assessment.
Every year.
Every year. Okay. This assessment is about, what do you say, $35,000? A little bit less than $35,000. I'll also remind you that when it was a district management corporation, the executive director drew a salary of about $50,000 a year of that 80 to 90,000. So,
he's gone now.
Well, that was Mr. Pappas was the last executive director, and so.
Just to clarify, it was 30, though. Just for clarification, it was 30.
45,000 this last year.
Oh, I thought, yeah, but if prior we had a whole different structure before I got on council, that it cost a lot, I think, is what you're referring to. But we're definitely cleaned it up.
And again, With the remainder in that SID budget, once council took it over, you have gone the next 10 years without doing an assessment. It's pretty significant.
Mr. Mayor, if I may just add one comment here.
Sure.
Let's just remember that the marketing that Mr. Dominic mentioned, the whole idea is to attract people to come to that part of the town. So it's going to be benefiting the businesses. So that's the purpose. And I'm hoping that people from across town will come and do shopping, do some other activities and so forth in Hamilton Street area.
One of the biggest complaints from business owners 10 years ago was the safety on Hamilton Street. At that time, for extra patrols, the Special Improvement District would pay the police department for off-duty officers to patrol on Hamilton Street. The commitment that council has made since then has created a community relations bureau manned on Hamilton Street, I believe right next to your building, sir. And so they've installed cameras at 8 different locations that are monitored by the police department 24/7. Those were things that were done after council took over the SID. And so now police officers patrol Hamilton Street, not at the cost of the business owners, but at the cost of the township. And there are officers dedicated to the Hamilton Street area as part of the Community Relations Bureau. So there have been a number of commitments that have allowed us, Vince and I, to keep it to where we didn't need to do an assessment until now.
Any other comments? So, Resolution 25-210, adoption of the calendar year 2025 Hamilton Street Special Improvement District assessment roll is presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do we have a motion?
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. This is now where we're supposed to have the discussion. We already had it. But does anyone have something else to say? Madam Clerk.
Councilman Barrison?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onichaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik? Deputy Mayor Rudin?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Item number 14, public hearing and adoption of ordinance on second reading. There are none. Ordinance on introduction and first reading. There are none. Consent agenda. Items A through N, as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Anyone have a question, like to pull an item, discuss an item? Madam Clerk.
Councilman Barrison?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes. I'm sorry.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik? Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Old business, 2025 boards, committees, and commission vacancies. Does anyone have a nomination?
Nope.
So I have a nomination for a committee that's not listed here. Back in 2023, we voted to have a committee for the 250th anniversary of our nation. The county is beginning to get active about it. There are various organizations propping up to help celebrate that. I would like to get this committee going. I want the 250th anniversary to be well represented here in town. Maybe go a little overboard with the fireworks. Maybe have a drone show. Thinking out of the box. We can have a battle reenactment. We can have some lectures about the Revolutionary War times. We can draw tourism with that. So I would like to nominate as the chair a name that's come up before tonight. It's Mr. LaCourte. He's done, as we've all just recognized, an excellent job with Memorial Day. and Veterans Day. And I think he'd be a great person to head up this committee, and we'll start stocking with more people and more ideas. So I nominate Mr. LaCourte. Are there any other, for chair, are there any other nominations for that position?
Just a question, did you talk to him? Is he willing to chair?
I told him he will be chairing.
Okay.
You voluntold him.
Voluntold him. Very well put.
Good choice, Mayor.
And he gratefully and happily accepted.
That's wonderful.
Any other nominations for this position? You can do it by acclamation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Ha ha, Mr. LaCourte.
We thank you for your service.
Let's see. Any other nominations? Executive session, there is none. Adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved in second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. We are adjourned. Be well, Franklin.